last year, what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him. Do not draft him. We're gonna make an example.
I'm proud of my kids, all of them, and I prepared my kids for any and everything that could possibly happen in life and in sports.
Eric Dickerson just dropped a bombshell about Shiloh Sanders getting waived by the Buccaneers. And if he's even halfway right, it paints a dark picture of what's really going down with Deion Sanders' sons in the NFL. Within the same week, both Shiloh and Shedeur found themselves dragged into headlines. And not for anything good. Shiloh got tossed out of a preseason game after throwing hands with another player, only to get cut by Tampa Bay less than 24 hours later. Meanwhile, Shedeur was getting punished on the field, sacked 5 times in basically one half, benched, and now the media's piling on, saying he doesn't even belong in the league. That's not just tough breaks. That's a setup for disaster. To most casual fans, this looks like 2 young guys still finding their footing. But Eric Dickerson is calling foul. He swears this is bigger than bad games or rookie mistakes. According to him, the NFL has it out for the Sanders family, deliberately blackballing them because they don't like the way Coach Prime talks, moves, and shakes up the system. That's a heavy claim.
With Shiloh, where it felt like you kind of were just finishing your block through the play, and he just felt some sort of way about it.
Yeah, something on the backside of screens we preach is the guy on the backside is making the touchdown block. I was just chasing the far deep DB and trying to finish through the whistle, and he had a little bit more to say.
Did you say to him, "You're too small"?
I didn't say anything. I may have gestured something, but if you get mad for getting blocked, I can't really control what he does.
But when you look at NFL history, it starts making sense. We've seen the league punish players who refuse to bow down. We've heard those inmates running the prison comments. We've seen the league give off straight-up plantation vibes. And now, it looks like Shiloh and Shedeur might be the next targets just for being Deion's sons. So let's get into it. What really went down with Shiloh? How Shedeur ended up in the hot seat? What Eric Dickerson actually said? And how all this connects to the NFL's ugly truth.
Deion Sanders after that ejection.
Well, you can't throw punches in this league. I mean, that's inexcusable. They're gonna get you every time. Got to grow from that.
And then what did you say to the officials after that? It looked like you were possibly trying to argue with them.
We're talking about another play.
Let's start with Shiloh. This man was literally one day away from finally stepping into his first real NFL game. The moment every player dreams about. But instead of celebrating, Shiloh Sanders went from suiting up to getting cut, all because of a preseason scuffle. It went down against the Bills when Shiloh locked up with tight end Zach Davidson. Cameras caught Zach grabbing Shiloh's face mask after the whistle. A dirty move that should have drawn a flag right there. But instead of the ref stepping in, Shiloh swung back with a punch, and just like that, Zach flipped into victim mode. Now here's where it gets shady. Fights like this happen all the time in preseason, in practice, even in joint workouts. Most of the time, it's a fine, maybe a short suspension, and life goes on. But Shiloh? He didn't get that grace.
Fact that he shouldn't have been picked number 144. It's a subtle repudiation of the attitude that teams have when the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
That the players should all line up and bow down to the statue of the NFL draft.
Yep.
We're going to deify the draft because how dare you treat the process other than your lips on our ass. If you dare deviate from the process of your lips on our ass, you will pay for it. Even if it hurts us, because collectively and individually, we ignore the talent to send you a message so others will know when the time comes for the pre-draft process. Take your lips and put them on our ass. Because that's why he felt. He treated it like he was being recruited, not like he was being interviewed. Well, sucks for the teams that allowed that to keep them from drafting a guy who clearly is more talented than pick number 144.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's talent.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Sure.
People allowed all that other stuff to get in the way of the talent, and they want to send this kid a message because they don't want people to have power. So many of the threads, Chris, of all the stuff we're seeing now in the NFL is about power and about showing power to the players. The teams have the power. The league has the power. The players don't. When they try to show it, they're getting screwed.
Less than 24 hours later, the Buccaneers waived him, just like that. And Coach Todd Bowles? He didn't have Shiloh's back at all. After Tampa's 23-19 loss, Bowles called the move inexcusable, but never once mentioned Zach starting it. No accountability for Davidson, just all the heat thrown at Shiloh. That's the real problem here. Shiloh got punished for reacting, while the ref watched Davidson rough him up way after the play with zero consequences. And this isn't new either. Back at Colorado, Shiloh was ejected for targeting, a call fans blasted as bogus. Now fast forward to the NFL, and one bad preseason moment gets him thrown out the door for defending himself. Meanwhile, Davidson didn't even draw a penalty flag. Later, he even denied provoking Shiloh, telling reporters Shiloh just got mad for being blocked. And of course, the media framed it like Davidson was innocent, painting Shiloh as the aggressor. Knowing all this, it's no surprise fans are straight up saying the NFL is sabotaging Shiloh on purpose, because none of it makes sense. One fan on X didn't hold back, writing, "Clearly a setup." The players were told to bait him. The refs were told to wait for it. The ref watched the whole thing and only threw the flag once there was retaliation. Another posted, "The league is conspiring against that family. And honestly, when you line it all up, it's hard not to see why people believe that. Just look at what happened days earlier with his brother Shedeur. In the Browns' preseason matchup against the Rams, the perfect chance arrived. Final 2 minutes, game on the line, prime time to show what he could do under pressure. But instead of letting Shedeur shine, Coach Kevin Stefanski yanked him and threw in Tyler Huntley. Fans weren't having it, accusing Stefanski of flat-out sabotaging Shedeur and fueling this bigger narrative that the NFL has already made up its mind about the Sanders boys. One user even blasted out, "Kevin Stefanski has pledged allegiance to Jim Crow just to prove Shedeur Sanders doesn't belong. Stefanski's KKK energy is loud right now." Another piled on saying, "They decided long before the draft. Go to a better team, Sanders, please." That's heavy talk, but it shows how deep the distrust runs. And here's where Eric Dickerson's claims take it to another level. He said point blank that a reliable NFL source told him the league warned teams not to draft Shedeur at all because they wanted to make an example out of him. Think about that. Not bad play, not poor fit, but a direct message to keep the Sanders name in check. And this isn't even the first time the whispers came up. Mike Florio already suggested the NFL was trying to humble Shedeur just because he wouldn't bow down and play nice with their system. That's not football politics. That's punishment. Now, of course, not everybody is buying into Eric Dickerson's story. Some critics are quick to point out that Dickerson's got his own long-standing beef with the NFL, so his words might be fueled more by old grudges than hard facts. And plenty of others are saying flat out, Shedeur just wasn't good enough. No conspiracy, no hidden plot, just reality. Daniel Kelly, a former NFL scout with the New York Jets, went public on X and didn't sugarcoat a thing. He even dropped a link to Shedeur's pre-draft scouting report to prove his point. Kelly wrote, "I did the work on Shedeur Sanders pre-draft. I put an undrafted free agent grade on him. Bottom line, he wasn't good enough, and he's not good enough. He didn't show the skill set or the mindset that's needed to transition to the NFL and be successful at quarterback. He hit his ceiling at Colorado." That's a brutal take. And Kelly didn't stop there. He called Shedeur the most hesitant quarterback I've ever evaluated and said he carried more character red flags than any prospect I've ever looked at. His report spelled it all out. Tough and athletic, yes, but low ceiling, hesitant under pressure, inconsistent progressions, telegraphing throws, fumbling snaps, limited trust in his receivers, and questionable vision of the field. According to Kelly, Shedeur simply doesn't process the game fast enough to thrive at the NFL level. But even with all that harsh analysis laid out, a lot of fans aren't convinced this is just about ability. They see something deeper. a system working overtime to humble Deion Sanders' kids because of the way he raised them to know their worth and never bow down. One fan, a Black Marine Corps veteran and single father from the South, put it in powerful words, "For me, this is a tale as old as time." That comment hit hard because it tapped into something bigger than just football. The idea that Shedeur and Shiloh are being punished not just for mistakes on the field, but for who they are and what they represent. Time and time again, it feels like the same story. A system that can't stand when a Black father is present, active, and teaching his sons to carry themselves with confidence and demand respect as equals. And now with the Sanders boys, people are saying the NFL is showing its hand with implicit bias, microaggressions, and a whole lot of blind prejudice working overtime to derail their success. And let's be real, this isn't brand new. History shows us how quick America is to humble Black men who won't bow down, and a lot of folks believe we're watching that same cycle repeat right in front of us. Accountability? Don't hold your breath because the NFL rarely ever admits when it's wrong. But here's the thing. Deion Sanders isn't breaking a sweat over it. When asked about Shiloh getting waived, Coach Prime brushed it off, saying his boys will be just fine with or without the NFL. That's confidence, and it proves he raised them to know their value doesn't start or end with football. Now I want to know what you think. Do you believe the NFL is really setting up the Sanders brothers just because they won't fall in line? Or is it simply about their play on the field? Could it be the league actually fears that Deion's sons don't need them nearly as much as the NFL needs fresh star power? Drop your thoughts in the comments, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.